Welcome to Equal Ground Headlines, bringing you your balanced coverage on trending top stories in Canada. I am Sir Jacon Downley. Clear news deserves a clear signal. Hit like, hit subscribe, and stay grounded. It began like a scene from a political sitcom. Prime Minister Mark Carney stepped into the Oval Office looking calm and statesmanlike, only to find President Donald Trump in full showman mode, greeting him with an oversized grin and a booming, "Welcome to America's future, 51st state." Trump repeated the line so often that reporters started keeping count, eventually tallying 9 variations before the photo op ended. Carney forced a polite smile each time, then finally replied, "Canada is not for sale, Mr. President," a quip that drew laughter in the press pool, but did nothing to slow Trump, who shot back, "Never say never." Even seasoned White House correspondents admitted it was one of the strangest icebreakers they'd ever witnessed. The meeting, publicly billed as a reset after months of tariff barbs, quickly became a clash of styles. Carney, fresh off his election victory, tried to focus on trade data, pointing out that Canada remains the United States' single largest customer for goods and services. Trump waved the numbers away, insisting America doesn't do much business with Canada compared with what Canada does with us, and segued straight back into his 51st state riff, quipping that Canadians would get the best health care plan in the world. Ours, if they joined the Union. Carney responded that Canadians rather liked their own system and preferred an equal partnership, not annexation. Reporters noticed Carney's tone stayed measured, but his tight half-smile betrayed irritation. Behind closed doors, the conversation turned sharper. According to a senior Canadian aide, Carney presented a briefing book showing how Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs were costing U.S. manufacturers billions and risking tens of thousands of American auto jobs. Trump skimmed the binder, flipped it shut, and joked he might slap a tariff on Canadian maple syrup just to see what happens, drawing groans, even from some of his own advisors. Carney countered with a threat of proportionate counter-tariffs on U.S. corn and bourbon if new duties appeared, and the room fell silent. Then Trump, never one to linger in awkward silence, broke it by repeating, "Come on, Mark, 51 looks good on you," prompting several aides to laugh nervously. From the hallway, journalists caught snippets. Trump praising Canadian hockey, but suggesting it would be even better under the stars and stripes. Carney quipping that Canada would be happy to lend the Stanley Cup, but not its sovereignty. The banter turned into a meme within minutes. Late-night comics spliced Trump's 51st state refrain over clips of Carney's poker face, calling it the most polite Canadian cringe in history. Even some conservative U.S. commentators admitted it was pretty funny, if diplomatically risky, to needle an ally that hard on live microphones. Yet for all the theater, substantive issues loomed. Trump wants Canada to drop its retaliatory levies on U.S. farm goods. Carney wants full removal of Trump's metals tariffs and guarantees that future duties won't return. Sources say the leaders agreed to launch a fast-track working group, but only after Trump joked he'd chair it himself as interim governor of the 51st, which drew an audible sigh from a Canadian diplomat. Back at the lectern for their joint statement, Carney tried again to steer toward policy, highlighting cross-border supply chains. Trump interrupted to ask whether Carney had brought sample license plate designs because Canada looks lonely without USA on the bottom. Reporters laughed. Carney rolled his eyes, and cameras captured the moment within seconds. Canadian media declared Trump's routine a masterclass in needling, while U.S. pundits split along partisan lines. Right-leaning hosts on cable news said the president used humor to show friendship and leverage, arguing that Carney needs a thicker skin. Progressive commentators called it disrespectful grandstanding that risked alienating America's closest ally. In Ottawa, opposition leader Pierre Poilievre cites the moment tweeting that Carney had been played like a fiddle and promising he would never let any U.S. president joke about annexing Canada. Liberal backbenchers shot back that poor Lever once joked himself about applying for U.S. statehood in exchange for lower gas taxes. The tweet war trended for hours. The levity masked genuine stakes. Trump hinted that if a new trade deal isn't inked within 6 months, he might revive his campaign trail threat to slap 10% tariffs on all Canadian autos. Carney warned such a move would trigger automatic and proportionate retaliation. Finance officials on both sides privately fretted that another tariff spiral could shave half a point off North American GDP in the coming year. Still, aides say the leaders did make progress on defense cooperation. Canada confirmed it will boost Arctic surveillance funding, and Trump promised to fast-track NORAD modernization funds through Congress. By the time the motorcade rolled away, the scoreboard read, humor points to Trump, patience points to Carney, and policy still up in the air. Back home, Carney told reporters he found the 51st state joke tiring but not offensive, adding dryly, "At least he didn't propose renaming us North Montana," asked whether the humor undercut serious talks. Carney replied, "Canadians believe in polite debate. Sometimes we even luck." Trump, boarding Marine First, shouted to cameras, "Mark's a great guy. He knows I'm kidding, but seriously, 51. Think about it." The rotors drowned out follow-up questions. Late that night, the White House released a joint communiqué highlighting shared goals: reducing trade barriers, coordinating on critical minerals, and deepening cultural ties. The communiqué made no mention of statehood jokes, but insiders leaked that Carney insisted on a line reaffirming Canadian sovereignty. Trump reportedly approved it after scribbling, "Of course," in the margin and doodling a maple leaf next to it. Analysts say the meeting will be remembered less for policy than for Trump's relentless ribbing and Carney's stoic composure, an encounter equal parts diplomacy and improv comedy. In Ottawa cafes the next morning, patrons debated whether Carney should have fired back harder or whether his restraint embodied classic Canadian cool. In Washington diners, Trump supporters repeated the 51st state line with gusto, while critics worried it signaled another unpredictable trade season. Either way, both publics got a reminder that international summits can veer from solemn to slapstick in seconds when personalities collide. So, where does this leave U.S.-Canada relations? Are we witnessing savvy showmanship that will grease the wheels of a new trade pact? Or a preview of fresh tensions if humor turns to hardball? And for Canadians, a lighter question. If Trump keeps lobbying, what would you name Province 51? Maple Land, Alaska, or maybe just still Canada? Let us know in the comments below.